Hey guys, Tibbs here. Just kind of wanted to take a second and say welcome to my channel. This is my first video, like first video. So it's mostly just kind of like a little test, I guess, to see how it works. But I figured I would share with you why I hate working retail. Okay? So for about a year, I was working full-time at a bakery. I was frosting cakes. And, I was having a grand old time just frosting cakes. And, maybe around Mother's Day, I gotta take this bitch. But, my manager starts saying things to me. She's very, indirectly calling me a whore, pretty much. And, at one point in time, she comes up to me and I'm talking to the assistant manager, and the assistant manager called me Laura. My actual name is Laura. So, the other manager, there were two owners. We'll call owner one, the one that I liked, we'll call her J, because her name began with a J. And owner two, we'll call her owner P, because her name began with a P. Okay, so assistant manager and owner J calls me Lulu, and assistant manager calls me Lola. So I'm asking assistant manager how she likes my new nickname from owner J, and she doesn't even get to say anything, and then owner P comes by and she's like, I think we should start calling you Hora Laura. Ha ha ha. And I look at her, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you just said that. And I immediately told her, like, it wasn't funny. And she tried to pass it off. She's like, oh, I had a college roommate that we called that. Her name was Laura, too. Like, bullshit. But anyway, so I'm like, whatever. And then, a few weeks later, we have a little whiteboard in the bakery. And on that whiteboard, I started drawing this mouse. Long story. There's actually a backstory as to why this mouse is there. But it's a long story. But essentially the mouse is a picture of the assistant manager, and the mouse is going on different vacations. So I drew a little Eiffel Tower and put the mouse next to the Eiffel Tower. She was in Paris. So owner P comes by, and she's like, Laura, why don't your mice wear clothes? And I'm like, well, owner P, because mice don't wear clothes. Imagine that, right? Well, she says something in reply to that prompts me to say, oh, no, it's not me, it's the assistant manager. And owner P comes up to me and she's like, oh, I thought it was you because the mouse is single and slutty. And after that, I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, this is not the way you speak to an employee. Let alone one that works 60 hours a week for you. Fuck you. So, I put in my 2 weeks shortly thereafter, and I tell the other owner what happened, and she was, obviously she was shocked, and she didn't like the fact that it happened, but there was nothing she could do, because owner P is obviously part owner, unless of course she gets bought out. I don't know, it's a mess. Anyway, so I put in my 2 weeks, and I immediately just start looking for jobs. And I applied at a grocery store bakery, so just a commercial bakery. And I get a call back like 2 days later, and they're like, this is great, you'd be perfect, we have hours, blah, blah, blah. So I go through the process, background check, drug check, test, obviously going to be very hard for me to pass those. Not really. Just saying, no, it's not. But, so I go to my orientation, and I learn I have to go through cashier training, which is, I kind of expected it, but I had cashiered, before working in the bakery, that first bakery, I cashiered for about a year, and it had only been like 7 months since I had quit cashiering, because I was working at the bakery and cashiering at the same time, until I got full-time at the bakery. So I'm like, almost pleading with them, I'm like, please, please don't make me do this. Like, I know how to cashier, I know the numbers, I know the procedure. Don't make me do this. You can call me up, just give me a number, whatever. And, but they were like, no, you gotta do it. So I was like, okay, fine. So, it was only 2 shifts. My first shift was, uneventful. The trainer literally just stuck me on a register and left me alone. There was another person who was actually, like, legitimately new. Had never cashiered before, so she was with him the entire time, and I didn't have much of a problem. Then the next shift, I'm, 30 minutes into this shift, 5-hour shift, I'm, like, already ripping and tearing my hair out. But this older woman comes up with a few items and 2 bags of lettuce. And she hands me a coupon that shows 2 bags of spinach. And she says that, these are the right lettuces, I guess, for that coupon, but the coupon wasn't working. So I asked the cashier in front of me, and this other cashier who is in line behind this woman to buy her lunch, if they know if this coupon works for those 2 lettuces. And they say no, that it's not right. And so the woman decides she doesn't want them, which is all fine. I thought she was going to be like, okay, whatever, it's fucking lettuce. Go grow some at home. But, anyway. 5 minutes later, she comes back, and she's standing behind me, and I'm, like, scared, because, oh my god, this woman is behind me, and she starts yelling at me. And I'm like, do you want this lettuce? Like, just fucking take it. And, this woman's just like, no, I want to talk to a supervisor. So I call over a manager. And, I tell her that this woman has issues with her lettuce. So the supervisor lady takes her over, and meanwhile the customers are, in my line are just, like, looking at me like, oh, people just need a reason to bitch, blah, 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 you're doing fine. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Thanks for not making me feel like a piece of crap. Unlike that lady, whatever. But, so I finish up ringing the next few customers, and then suddenly my phone is ringing, the phone at the register. I'm like, okay, so I pick it up. And it's that supervisor who, I learned has a severe superiority complex, and she's yelling at me over the phone, and there are people around, and they're just looking at me like, this is happening. Like, this cashier is crying now, and she's on the phone and she's crying, and yeah, I was in tears because I was being yelled at for essentially nothing. And so I told the cashier in front of me what happened, and she was, like, super pissed. And so she told, like, upper management about everything, and I think that supervisor that yelled at me got in trouble because she for one, didn't speak to me at all the rest of my shift. And then at the very end of the day, when I had, like, the only option I had was to speak to her, she was, like, super incredibly nice to me, like, sickeningly sweet, so I think she got in trouble. Yay! But yeah, retail sucks, and jobs suck, and I'm going to school, and I feel like I'm going to get out of school, and I'm not going to be able to find a job in the field that I want. Granted, I like cakes. I could continue decorating cakes for a very long time, but I am going to school for English, and I was intending to teach at some point in time. I mean, I tutor, so that's a step in the right direction, but I don't want to be sitting at a fucking grocery store for the rest of my life dealing with this shit, and I feel like that right now is where my life is going. But anyway, yeah. My next video should be playing games. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Nice to meet you.